I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space. My intention here with the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck is to offer support to grieve the mother you want so you can accept the one you have. Hi, I'm Tammy Taylor, the inventor and reader of the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. Anyone can become a reader. You can receive the readings obviously here, but also at greatmotherspeaks.info where my coaching work is displayed there. I specialize in mama drama trauma, a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. In cases where she's unable, unwilling, or unavailable, sometimes she has simply transitioned to heal her own MDT. It is a cycle. Then loving detachment is required. Loving detachment is accepting what is, the mother that we have. So these readings, the intention is all about working with Great Mother lunar energy, the Holy Spirit, that still small voice, our intuition, our soul downloads, that balsamic moon that comes right before the new moon, working with that sense of ourselves, that spirit before we came into form, that made that soul contract with that soul that loves us enough to assist us in MDT's purpose. What is the purpose of having mama drama trauma? To evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. Now, grieving, now that is the process of letting go, is the process of releasing the toxic emotions in MDT of shame, blame, and guilt that perpetuated generation after generation. So that's my intention, is to support individuals in releasing those emotions in order for us to embrace our divinity identity. And if you've been listening and watching for a while, you know that in my coaching work here and individually, we work on our divinity, which is claiming we are dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. We're never judged or condemned. There are consequences for our actions. We do live in the physical realm. There are consequences. Good. We can perceive them as good. We can perceive them as bad. But karma is simply action. And for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, but never judgment or condemnation. We are here to evolve. And with MDT, that's evolving in self-love and spiritual independence. So this Aquarius Pisces new moon is about cultivating clear boundaries. Now that sounds strange with Piscean energy, and its ruler planet in the western of Neptune right there in Pisces. But it's about that because of that very reason. You know, we have a lot going on with Mercury in Pisces as well. So the communicative downloads from high up are really wanting us to be clear on what is and is not important to you moving forward in your healing process. What is and is not okay with you in a life beyond MDT. There is life beyond MDT. I'm a witness. I have clients who are witnesses. There is life beyond mama drama trauma. And so what is and what is not okay with you now in that life you envision beyond MDT? Great Mother in this new moon wants you to be clear about what you are willing and able to give to relationships and situations in the next phase of your life. And so right now we are finally closing out an era of a nodal season, entering a new one, and that energy finally feels like a door is opening up. And so we're all in this kind of phase of anticipation. And as we are anticipating, Great Mother wants us to get in touch within and be clear about what we are willing and able to give to relationships and situations as we transition into this new phase. She wants us to do this by assessing the value. Assess your own value of your gifts, talents, abilities, time, space, and attention you give to things, and how you expend or use your resources, your gifts, talents, abilities. These are the unseen. These are the spiritual. These are the non-material resources that create all things. This is the Great Mother energy. She wants you to look and value your resources, your gifts, talents, abilities, your time, your space, your attention. How are you using them? How are you expending them to be healthy, happy, and whole? How are you using your resources to embrace your birthright? Remember, you can have $100, you can have $1,000, you can have $1,000,000, but if you don't put it to use, even if it's just to earn interest, it is as if you don't have it at all. So evaluation and inventorying all of this is supported with the energies of this new moon, as Great Mother brings a more balanced sense of self through this process, while Great Father activates our birthright to experience divinity as members of humanity. Remember, new moons, both the sun and the moon are in the same sign. And so we have this Aquarius Pisces energy that's really supporting a more balanced sense of self, a more real sized, a more real time sense of self with that Great Father, that solar, that material sense of ourselves to be activated in a life of health, happiness, and wholeness as part of humanity, owning that divinity identity as a living being in the world. So this Aquarius Pisces new moon kicks off a buildup until the July 2nd total solar eclipse. This is the beginning of that phase that builds up to that climactic total solar eclipse we have on July 2nd. So from now, with the Western Earth egocentric emotional moon in Pisces and Aquarius, the Vedic soul sign, and which precedes your Western moon sign by 24 degrees and is cosmologically correct based on the actual location of the stars in the sky and on the moon. Vedic astrology, Jyotish astrology, sidereal astrology is a lunar astrology. This Aquarius new moon is in the nakshatra of Shatabisha. It means 100 doctors. So we're talking about transitioning into conscious healing. It is in the beautiful stellar constellation that is also named 1,000 stars. It's kind of cloudy, It's so abundant with stars. And it's also called 1,000 flowers. It's a very beautiful constellation. It deals with healing. It deals with the challenges of healing. It deals with individuals who can heal, that are born under this nakshatra, that have challenges with cloudiness, placing boundaries, between themselves and others, internally and externally. Maybe some of those things that come up in your spread. But since November, your Vedic and Western moon signs have shared the same nodal or evolutionary houses when the nodal shift from Leo Aquarius to Cancer Capricorn in Western astrology aligned with Rahu and Ketu in the Vedic. So since November, we have shared the same nodes. However, this new moon marks Rahu and Ketu's entry into Gemini Sagittarius, the preceding house signaling the soul's intent to dive deeper into the emotional processing that it has been doing over the last 18 to 24 months and is ready to live by, through us, as us. So since November, we've actually had our nodes sharing the same energy, but now at this new moon, the Vedic has shifted to Gemini North Node. So this new spiritual foundation is fertile. Great Mother's guidance, this reading, therefore, supports the planting of seeds from this emotional harvest that are good, strong, and resilient enough to do the deep evolutionary work of this nodal season. Whatever we plant will surely grow. So we want to be really clear about what we are planting. So now into July, these readings will specifically support your process of reducing, abbreviating, and digesting your identification with MDT as a way of life. The critical 29-degree marker signals birth of what the soul has been processing over the last 22 months or so in your Vedic moon, with Jupiter at 29 degrees in Scorpio and Pluto at 29 degrees in Sagittarius. Emotionally, in the Western astrology, Mercury is in Pisces 29 degrees. It will be moving into Aries soon, very soon, but we have Uranus also 29 degrees at the onset of this new moon. That is, by the end of the new moon, will be in Taurus, where it will remain until 2020. So since your moon is cosmically syncing or ego soul aligning, it's best to approach this new moon as an extended balsamic moon phase for the entire lunar cycle. As far as MDT is concerned, plant wishes that seed your intention to consciously and completely release, remove, and withdraw from MDT identity, the shame, the blame, the guilt. Because following the July 2nd total eclipse, the cosmic calculus points to increased support to experience our divinity identity. So now is the time to consciously develop our abilities to distill our intentions for our personal benefit moving forward. Okay, so this is the contraction and extraction happening in 2019 I spoke of at the January eclipses, and will return to as we arrive at pivotal points throughout the year. The contraction is all about the lessening, the clarification that we're going through right now to just really distill those intentions, really get clear about our gifts, talents, and abilities, and how we want to use them and interact internally with ourselves as we relate to those things and how we evaluate them, and then with the world. And the extraction after July 2nd, the second half of the year, really benefiting from the work that we've done the earlier part of this year to move forward in the big 2020, lots in 2020. And so 2019 is the contraction extraction preparation period. Now, as this newly tilled soil lies fallow for this lunar cycle, we are integrating emotional information from the past with the help of Venus in Aquarius and Mars and Taurus in the Western. So simultaneously, we're taking a beat to contract essential intuitive wisdom with the support of these same signs in Aquarius and Aries in the Vedic. You know, there's some go between there, but energetically, we have, all of this fallow soil that is coming at the end and the beginning of the wheel here. So let's look at how this may be playing out for you this March, Aquarius, Pisces, new moon on the 6th, 7th. Libra, Scorpio, moon sign people, welcome to your Aquarius, Pisces, new moon. Pisces is the Western moon sign that you would make any new moon wishes that you have. And Pisces, of course, has to deal with spiritual development, evolution, has to deal with issues of resolving anxiety or perhaps feelings of helplessness, addictions. Pisces is always about inner happiness, mysticism, the development of mystic abilities, or how to manage them, how to manage personal boundaries. That's a good one as well. And of course, if you want to learn about how to make the new moon wishes, you might want to look up the rules of new moon wishes. You want to kind of Google those and see how you want to do that. There are rules to it. Jan Spiller is good for that, and I've used her resources for many years. And because there's a way that you want to do it to amplify the power of the seed moving forward. And the power of this seed for you, Libra, Scorpio, moon sign people, has a lot to do with your soul sign ruler. And so check the links below to verify your Vedic and your Western moon signs. You may be Scorpio in both the Western and the Vedic, but for most of you, it will be Libra, which is ruled by Venus. And so right now, Venus is in your fourth house, which is the house of the mother. And so there may be with this placement, because it's square the south node, there may be some real inner conflicts that are coming up for you that have to deal with resolving mama drama trauma, and specifically where you are in your healing process, because the sense of devotion that you have for your mother, or the sense of home that you're feeling, may be so strong at this time it could cloud really what's best for you. At this new moon in the Vedic astrology, there is the nodal shift from Capricorn South Node to Sagittarius South Node, and Cancer in the it's moving from Cancer in the North Node and Gemini in Rahu. And so basically this is ninth, third house energy. And so you're moving now into a more expanded internal space, and you're letting go of really how you have been doing relationships with people in your immediate environment. And so this time of expanding this new moon, as Great Mother has asked us to do, expanding the balsamic moon energy, the resting, the recuperation, the reflection energy of balsamic moon energy into this entire lunar phase over the next month. What is being brought up for you in terms of your internal work is Adi Shakti. This is the download energy. This is Dorothy in the Twister Dream. Dorothy is the poster child for Mama Drama Trauma. And at this point, Dorothy had run away from home, and out of guilt, mainly brought on by a reading she received from Professor Marvel. And in that scenario, she knew that she needed to leave home. But because of the blame, shame, and guilt that perpetuates MDT, was questioning herself. That's where we tend to get in trouble. And that's why the energy of Adi Shakti, the primordial mother, the Hindu mother of Brahma, Vishnu, Shakti, is so important to maintain connection with, because our intuition does not steer us wrong. Toto symbolizes her intuition, and he did not like Professor Marvel. Remember, he ate his hot dog. Okay, he was like, we need to go. We got someplace to be. Come on, let's go. But that's the healing process. You know, we get there when we get there. But Great Mother is saying that during this extended balsamic lunar phase for you, Libra, Scorpio, moon sign people, with this Venusian energy, so prevalent in your maternal sign, download what Great Mother is sharing with you. Really pay attention to it from this message, from this reading as well, because it's going to allow you to share yourself. This is Wayne and Gibbous energy, with a sense of gratitude, as opposed to expressing yourself with a sense of regret. Okay, sharing yourself with a sense of gratitude as opposed to expressing yourself with a sense of regret is the struggle that Dorothy had, because she immediately attempted to return home. And what did Great Mother do? She reincarnated into her variant energy of the Twister, because it wasn't time for Dorothy to come home. It's not time for you to come home. And that Venus in your fourth house might make it feel that way for you at this time. Now, what's bringing this up? What's bringing this up is that your soul is open to the journey. Now, the heart chakra, this is a heart chakra, waning gibbous moon card too. And so it's ruled by Venus. And so again, you have this Venetian energy. Now, we're talking chakras, we're talking Vedic astrology. Now, Vedic does rule that Libra that most of you are intuitively. And so you download intuition in a very balanced way, I should say. You consider a lot of things before you kind of allow it to be filtered through. And the main thing that you consider is your mother. You really do consider her, and the fairness that you have in your assessment of your intuition. And so what this is saying is that there needs to be a greater openness to what your intuition is saying without that filter at this particular time. Just as we see the lion, he's afraid, and that may be terrifying to you, which I wouldn't be surprised if it is with Libra Vedic moon. That could be terrifying to you, as it was to the lion when he was told by Oz that they must bring back the witch's broom, which symbolizes, that phallic symbol, their power. All of them had to take their power back from their fears. And so your soul is wanting you to take your power back from your fear of leaving a bad situation and having to justify it intellectually, having to justify it emotionally. Again, not expressing yourself and feeling regretful afterwards, but sharing yourself in a way that is fulfilling, is what the goal is here that I'm getting. And your shadow position is you don't realize how much you are processing, Libra, Scorpio, moon sign people. You are processing loads and oogles and ogles and googles. I can tell by this balsamic moon, and then we have the gut chakra here, digestion. You're just processing so much. You've been doing so much internal work over these last 2 years around mama drama trauma. It is not even funny. Now, Mars rules the gut chakra, and Mars is conjunct Uranus in Taurus right now, which Venus also rules. So with this new moon, all of these changes are happening, which is why Great Mother is saying, just take a beat to calibrate this month, because you're going to need to have your glasses on moving forward in 2019. It's about to get live. Moving from Cancer to Gemini on a soul level is moving from a kind of a slow, methodical kind of a, water thing to Gemini just jumping all over the place. And even though it's on a soul level, it's moving with what it's got. And what you have in your shadow position, what you may not be aware of, is that this conjunction happening in your 7th house is about contracts, that soul contract. You are processing that whole contract with your mother to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. That is the sense of self that your soul is ready to be open to. It's ready to be open to, okay, so what does that mean for me now? What does self-love and spiritual independence mean for me now? What does that look like? What does self-love look like for me? What does spiritual independence feel like for me? Okay, not relying on her for that, because remember, the North Node for you is 9th house energy. And so typically when we talk about 9th house, we're talking about gurus, we're talking about spiritual learning, we're talking about long distance travel. Inner work, Great Mother work, we're talking about internal travel. So maybe astral travel, that kind of thing, where you're really connecting with your soul and your sleeping dreams and your waking dreams in ways that you're processing all this stuff that every mother does to their child unconsciously. MDT is a planetary disorder. Not to say that everyone has it, but it has colored the human experience to such a degree that it's evident in all things, in all institutions, and in all relationships. And since this Mars-Uranus conjunction in Taurus is in your 7th house, you're evaluating the soul contract, this Martian energy. You're reflecting on all of this. That's in your shadow position. You may have not been aware of that, but you are. And what you want is to just wild out. You are ready to move forward. You're ready with this new moon, this throat chakra energy. The throat chakra is ruled by Mercury. And so you're ready to express yourself. But Again, we want to do it in a way that is genuine. We want to do it in a way that people feel that we're sharing our authentic selves with them. And you know how to do that, Libra, Scorpio, moon sign people, because you do consider the perspectives of others. Make that ability work for you, not against you. That's how we work with Great Mother energies. That's the benefit of understanding it, is because we don't just do things by default. We are aware of our cosmic calculus, and we know, okay, I do have a tendency to sometimes take other people's considerations, especially my mother, more than me with this Venus in my 4th house, especially right now. But my soul wants me to be open to that heart chakra expanding beyond my boundaries so that I can take my power back from that tendency. And that's wild woman stuff. This is when Dorothy and the three approach the dark forest on the way to the witch's castle to get the broom. And so this is what you want. You're ready to go past those scary signs, and you're ready to express yourself this Aquarius, Pisces, new moon. Great Mother is making sure that the assistance that you have to do that in the position that's assisting you is Ices, self-mothering. Now, self-mothering is just that. It's the self-care. It's the self-acceptance. It's the self-love that you need in practical ways. That a lot of times just shows up as, if I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get my kids together, make sure they have a good breakfast to go to school, well, then that means that either we're all going to bed a little early so that I can take me a nice bath after I get them in bed, and so I'm relaxed, I have me a nice deep sleep, and I wake up ready, or I am getting up early to take my bath, or I am getting up early to do my meditation. And where am I going to find the time to do this? I'm so tired. Well, where do I get energy from? I get energy from root chakra, what I feed my body. I get it from a sense of security. I get it from a sense of safety. Am I feeling safe? All of these things that keep us in a state of anxiety, which MDT cultivates through that shame, blame, and guilt, leak energy. It leaks power from us, speaking of taking our power back. And so in practical ways, taking our power back, as we do that, it becomes easier to take our power back in bigger ways. And Scorpio, you know all about this. Sometimes you can do it in one full swoop, okay? But again, making it work for us, you want to use the energy that's supporting you. And you have very powerful Saturnal energy. Saturn rules the root chakra, which rules Capricorn and Aquarius. So Aquarius is where the sun is right now. Speaking of the full moon in Virgo that's coming up on the 19th, right now the sun is in Aquarius. Okay, and so we have new moon with Aquarius energy there. And we also have Capricorn energy, mostly with Western in the South node. And so when we're talking about chakras, we're talking about Vedic astrology. And so that would indicate to us that from now until the 19th, for the next 2 weeks especially, self-mothering is really important to you. And that makes sense as you're downloading this information up to the phase right after the full moon, which is the waning gibbous. The present state of your ego soul alignment is Hecate. This is crescent moon throat chakra energy. Ooh, how powerful is that? This is there's something that's going on right now that's distracting you from all of this. In your, I don't know, maybe somebody's pregnant or about to be pregnant. Maybe someone has a new project or a project that they're working on that is taking away a lot of time. So for us to even mention self-mothering, that's something that you may want to do, but you're like, that's impossible right now because of my schedule. There's something that's distracting you from this with this throat chakra crescent moon energy that is directly related to the MDT taking away
your power to be happy, to be healthy, to be whole. Your mother could be really in a phase right now where she's acting up with that Venetian energy in your fourth house. That really could be where your attention is right now, which is why Great Mother opened up cautioning you about that. You know, she opened right up cautioning you about that and making you realize that, look, this is second chakra waning gibbous energy. Now, we want to share ourselves in loving ways. We also want to look at that second chakra, which is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter rules Scorpio. We're talking Vedic now. And it rules Pisces in the Vedic. And right now, Jupiter is in your second house. So maybe she's asking for money. Maybe she's asking for you to get serious. You know, what are you doing with this new spiritual way that you're going in your life? This new stuff that you're talking, that you're sharing with us or whatever. Maybe there's that kind of thing going on, which is why it would make sense that you would have processing in your shadows, is because a lot of times when we're dealing with stuff like that, we don't realize that we're processing it because it feels more like smoldering anger, smoldering rage. You know, we're just trying to keep ourselves together. But breathe through it, work through it, because that is probably why you're ready to wild out too and just go through and do what you need to do to take your power back. But because your present status position of your ego still alignment is Hecate, you are at a crossroads. So you don't need to force anything. You don't have to express yourself and then regret it. You have the talent, the gifts, these abilities that you can use in a conscious way. You just have to remember what Great Mother's telling you right now. She's telling you to chill. She's telling you to pivot your focus, your attention. That's part of your resources, your attention. You know, your beliefs, your gifts and talents. Those are resources, that internal resources that we have before they become material. Everything starts in the spiritual before it materializes. And she's saying that focus on this right now, because there's a chance that you could give up on these intuitive downloads and just revert back to survival mode and stay in the shame, blame, and guilt, as happened in this scene with Dorothy when Great Mother, when she gave her the slippers, she told her, don't take them off. I know this witch is coming for you, but do not take these shoes off. And the ruby red slippers symbolize our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. But when she got in the witch's castle, got past the dark forest, and she finally made it in there, what's the first thing she wanted? Were those shoes. And she had her up there. And then Dorothy said, wait a minute. You know, she had her up there and she said, look, I'm going to kill Toto if you don't give me these shoes. And Dorothy said, no, give me Toto and take the shoes. Now, Great Mother didn't say nothing about Toto. But what we know when we embrace our divinity, our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole, and that's the crossroads. This is ego connecting with others in the physical realm, and this is the soul connecting with the soul, Great Mother, our intuition. And when we connect with our divinity, knowing that we are dearly loved children of the Great Mother, Father God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone, we know that she's not going to give my intuition, total symbolizing intuition, and she's not going to give my birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. She didn't know that until the witch got shocked. She was shocked. She couldn't take the shoes. No one can take our birthright, including our mother. It's ours. That whole thing about nobody's happy unless mama's happy, that's a lie. And that's what MDT is here to teach us. That's a lie. We were born with the right to be happy, healthy, and whole. That's ours. And we keep giving it up. We keep giving it up for no reason other than we do not know who we are. And so this is your present position, Libra, Scorpio, Moon sign people. There is a chance that you don't know who you are and the power that you have. So remember Great Mother's message to you right now, because no one can take that away. including your mama, no matter how tough Venus is in the fourth house. Okay, now why your soul wants to do this work, another full moon card, this gut chakra, is because it wants you to accept how you feel. And you feel angry, you feel enraged, you feel upset, you feel gypped, you feel denied, you feel, all of the things that we feel with MDT. We feel sorry for ourselves. We have to accept how we feel in order to move through the feeling. Gut chakra. People have all of these gut issues, okay? And a lot of Scorpios do have digestive issues, diverticulitis, all these intestinal issues, and, intestinal tract issues, and all this kind of thing. And it's processing emotions. Once we get it down to a science, we're better at it than most. It's just in and out. But some of you out there, this is an indication that because process is in your shadow position, your soul at this particular time is really wanting to process all of that stuff that you've gathered over the last 2 years. At this particular time, it's really, really important that processing occurs and that you allow that to occur. That's the priority. That's what Great Mother's message is for you, so that you can share your truth with love, as opposed to in this kind of visceral response to this unnecessary anger that's brought about through an ignorance of your divinity. And your divinity is what we embrace as we release the blame, shame, and guilt of MDT. That's the grieving of the mother that we want. The mother that we want is a fantasy. And so we accept how we feel. We feel shameful. We feel guilty. We blame her. We blame ourselves. We weren't good kids. And so maybe she's right, and all this with Venus in your fourth house right now. What's also happening is that this new moon in your fifth house, that's why I was talking about, this creativity in terms of procreation physically of an actual human birth or a project. How your soul wants to do this work at this time is by awakening to the connection, again, between your inner world and your outer world. Connecting the signs and symbols that are showing up for you in your outer world with what's going on with you internally. Every mother wants their child to be happy, healthy, and whole to the degree that they understand happiness, health, and wholeness. And obviously, if they have MDT, they have very limited scope with regard to that. So awakening to this is where your soul is. It wants you, again, to process this. This is crescent moon energy, and to plant the seed of the truth. And the truth is the answer to the question that Glinda the Good Witch, when she descended down from the mountains as Dorothy entered the Technicolor world of Munchkinland, she asked, or the Munchkins want to know, are you a good witch or a bad witch? To which Dorothy replied, I'm not a witch at all. I'm Dorothy from Kansas. So your soul during this extended balsamic lunar cycle wants to get in touch with you in ways that you directly confront the degrees to which you have been overly aggressive, this expression that you regret because of this consistent and persistent abandonment and abuse, and ways in which you have been passive, that you have allowed it because you haven't articulated what your truths are at this particular time. Because a bad witch is someone who uses her power to manipulate, to control others, and try to control herself, control her emotions instead of accepting them, for example. And a good witch is someone who uses her power to love and to support herself and others. Okay, so that's how your soul wants to do this downloading work. It wants to project on that. It wants to be creative around that. It wants this fifth house energy to be reflected in your outer world, of whether it's a child that's coming or whether it's, again, a creative project. We always use those examples because they are so broad. They could include renovations in your house. Okay, you're talking about fourth house. It could be buying a house. Okay, we're talking fourth house energy. We're talking about Mars and Uranus being very active, with you being seventh house. It could be a new contract that's coming up, a new agreement, a new relationship, a new professional relationship, a business partner. It could be someone that you are getting engaged to. What are the symbols of that outer scenario that reflect what's going on with you in regard to evaluating your passivity and your aggressiveness over the past 2 years, and how you want to open yourself up to expanding that perception of yourself in a more loving way, so that you can express yourself in a more loving way. You can process these emotions and express yourself that way as well. It's wild woman energy because it's different from how you've been in the past. And by doing this, most likely your outcome is, for many of you, this may be too overwhelming. And the outcome could be a continued feeling of victimhood. It could be that I can't do this at this time. Let me put this on the calendar to redress this. If this solar eclipse in July is going to be all that, let's revisit it then. I have too much on my plate right now. Again, you might already have creative projects that are distracting you from this right now. And this, just the timing sometimes for you might not be where you're willing to align. And so as a result, you will feel more of a victim because you will not have the power that you need to go forward with this crossroads in the empowering ways that open you up. But for others who are ready, willing, and available to take this on, you're going to be able to take this on, and you're going to be able to redefine and recreate yourself in ways that you've only imagined up to now. This is second chakra crescent moon energy. Again, your second chakra is this Jupiterian energy, which rules Pisces, which is where Mercury is right now. And this is where Mercury is in both the Vedic and in the Western astrology. So Vedic is in your sixth house. And so sixth house energies, karmic energy, karmic debt, disputes that you have, of course, with the mother, mama drama trauma, this karmic situation, you're going to plant a new seed of creating a new way forward in how you are resolving the situation within yourself internally as a result of the processing work that you did to remother yourself as you move forward in 2019. And the July eclipse on the 2nd for you will bring about a lot of beneficial outcomes as a result of taking on this challenge at this particular time. The energy is going to quicken from now until then with all of the support that's available to you. So I wish you additional blessings and wellness. This is a challenging read for you, but you are more than capable. More than capable. Libra, Scorpio, Moon sign people. You have the gift. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Tell people about it. It is a planetary disorder. I do like sharing this as well as the deck. But above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary.